Welcome to Aging Gracefully on Suncoast FYI. Each week we talk to different experts and professionals on a wide range of subjects to give you tips and advice on living a happy and healthier life, no matter what age you may be. This week on Aging Gracefully, we talk to Alicia Couri, Dr. Nema Runyan, and Dr. Russell Samson. Alicia Couri returns this week to talk about the importance of avoiding the sun and what ways we can keep our skin safe from damage. Hi, Alicia.
Hi.
Hi. So we started talking about inception and then posture.
And mixing it up.
And mixing it up. And
yes.
This week it's going to be talking about your experiences and why you chose 21
tips.
Yes, 21 tips, as your book so nicely puts it. 21 yes. tips
to make your 40s look like your 20s. It's interesting because since people kind of see me as someone in my 20s, I started off with 13 tips, and it was just going to be like this little PDF white paper or something. Mm-hmm. And as I really started thinking more about what I did, I thought, well, let me come up with at least 20 tips, because that will sound good. 20 tips to make your 40s look like your 20s.
Yeah, I like
and
it.
I ended up with 21. So there are probably more.
Yeah, yeah.
So I might come up with a second edition.
There you go, second book.
Yes.
Well, seriously, because everything that you've put in there is so relevant to,
yes.
to aging and what we can do to be a better person, or, you know, better who we are today. But today we're going to talk about the sun and,
yes.
and skin damage. What, as a beauty expert, do you recommend that people do to protect themselves, and why is it so important?
Well, sun, those UVB and UVA rays are responsible for the most damage to the skin, sun exposure. Mm-hmm. So they cause wrinkles, they cause hyperpigmentation, they cause sunspots, age spots, and they change the texture of your skin. It changes, you know, the elasticity in your skin. So mm-hmm. being out in the sun, baking in the sun, is not good for mm-hmm. your skin as you age.
Well, even when you're younger, I mean, and again, I think we should address the younger people out there, because that's when
Absolutely.
They should start.
You should start from when you're younger. Because when I was, you know, understanding what your skin type is, if mm-hmm. you burn easily or not, because mm-hmm. some people have the misconception that dark skin doesn't burn, and that's not true.
But you do.
I do. I discovered that when I was 13 years old.
Oh dear, the hard way, right?
The hard way, spending the whole day on the beach with no sunscreen.
Oh my
you know, well,
gosh.
back then we didn't really use sunscreen, no. So, and I got a severe burn on my face, my nose, and everything, and I didn't realize mm-hmm. that I burn easily. So, that is something that you really need to understand. Your skin, do you burn easily? Because then you determine what kind of sun screen or sun block you need to use to protect your skin from being burned.
Okay, now what are some of the quick tips you're going to give us today about that?
So some of the things, I brought my big hat. You know, the first thing, ladies, when you're going out into the sun, yes. wear a big floppy hat. Mm-hmm. And the bigger the brim, the better, because it covers not just your face, mm-hmm. but your neck and your chest. You want to cover this entire area. Because here shows age so quickly. Mm-hmm. So you want to keep this area
quicker than your face.
Quicker than your face. So you want to keep this area here protected. Mm-hmm. So wearing a big floppy hat is one of them.
And they have hats now that have the UV protection in them, right?
Not just hats, but that was the other thing, clothes. Mm-hmm. Clothes now, for people who are out in the sun a lot, mm-hmm. you know, sports, you're playing sports or anything like that, they have clothes that have ultraviolet protection factor. So you want to look for that UPF symbol on clothes, and it will tell you what value it is. So if it's a UPF value of 50, that means that it's ultraviolet 50 mm-hmm. protection against sun. So you want to look at that. There are a lot of manufacturers out there now that are providing clothing that help protect you from the sun. And even if you don't have those that type of clothes, you can wear light colored clothes that reflect the sun instead of absorbing the sun rays.
All good tips. Now what about makeup, being a beauty consultant, does your makeup come into play?
Yes, there's foundations out there now with SPF protection, but I want to advise you that just because you put a moisturizer on with an SPF and primer with an SPF and then a foundation, you don't combine those SPF protection. Right. What happens is whatever that top layer is, that's the protection you're going to get. So you could have a moisturizer with 25, SPF of 25, but then your foundation is only 15, so you're only going to get that SPF 15 protection. So you have to be aware of that.
And reapply.
And reapply. Reapply sunscreen every 20 to 30 minutes. Sometimes if it's a higher SPF, like SPF 50, you can go an hour or two before you reapply, but if you're going to be in the water, you have to get out and reapply that sunscreen.
Okay. What about people that already have damage to their skin? Is there anything they can do to reverse it?
You need to see a dermatologist. I would recommend going to a dermatologist because they do have tools. They have special lasers and they have special lights that can help reverse damage of sunspots, wrinkles, hyperpigmentation. So you would need to go see a dermatologist for that.
Tell us again a little bit more about your personal experiences. Obviously you got burnt.
Yes, I got burnt in the sun, and so I learned to take care of my skin. I always wear a hat if I'm going out and I'll be out in the sun. I do wear SPF foundation, and my foundation is also waterproof, so it doesn't water resistant. So that's another thing you can look for in your foundation, so it doesn't sweat off or run off, and it stays there. It stays on.
Now, what if people are allergic to sunscreen? What else can they use?
Well, if they're allergic to sunscreen, there are some natural oils that you can use, like carrot seed oil, coconut oils. There's
really,
I have a whole list of different coconut oil, but the warning with that is it does not have a strong SPF protection like a sunscreen does. So you cannot be out in the sun all day if you put on coconut oil or if you put on grapeseed oil or raspberry seed oil. So you have to keep reapplying those.
But there are organic.
But there are organic, yes. You can research that. It's in the book as well. But you can research, you know, what natural oils can help protect you from the sun.
Okay, well, that's my suggestion for today. My tip for today is buy Alicia's book.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week.
Yes.
Great.
I'll be back.
Please stay tuned. Aging Gracefully on Suncoast FYI will return after a short break. Dr. Nema Runyan from Elite Health returns this week to talk about the power of lifestyle. It sounds powerful just the way you say it.
Nancy, it is powerful, and it is my very, very, very favorite subject and something that I really, truly am passionate about. This is the cornerstone of good health and wellness. And I want everybody to understand that it's the choices that they make on a day-to-day basis that will keep them the healthiest them that can be.
Right.
I think that research has shown, and this is a little medical information from almost a century of work. People have always asked the question, is it nature or is it nurture that keeps us healthy, that gives us this long life? Some people say, oh, I got lousy genes, you know, my mother, my father.
Right.
But the truth of it is, only 25% of the effect is DNA and genetics. 75% is lifestyle choices.
And what you make of your life on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly. There was a very interesting study. It was called the Danish twin study back at the earlier in 1900s, and they wanted to see. They said they followed twins. They had the identical genetic makeup, and they followed them through their lives because every little aspect of their lives were documented. And it came to pass that their genetics, since it was the same, whatever occurred to them health-wise, how long they lived, what kind of medical conditions they had, it boiled down to depending on their lifestyle choices, not so much their genetics.
Okay. Now, were they living in the same town, or did one move?
Not necessarily.
Across the country?
But they were identical twins.
Right.
So their DNA, it was a brilliant idea,
yes,
because where else can you have that normalization of the DNA being the same, yet some got sick, some didn't get sick,
exactly.
Some went into the hospital more often, some didn't. But this was a very interesting study about how much is genetic and how much is lifestyle. Subsequent to that, there have been observational studies that went looking for populations who live long, but not just live long, they live healthy. Healthy.
So what are the keys to a healthy life?
And this is
what
they, and it's very mundane, yet I want the viewers to understand the power. They found that the people who lived long and stayed healthy had certain characteristics in common. Top of the list was eating a plant-based diet, meaning lots of good fruits and vegetables. Vegetables, vegetables, vegetables.
Raw vegetables, cooked vegetables.
They didn't have any in every. The peoples that lived long and healthy were scattered all across the world, from Greece, Italy, Costa Rica, and even our own Loma Linda, California. So these populations, they just observed, what do they do? How do they live? And their diet was mainly fresh fruits, vegetables, lean meats, but in moderation, whole grains, these things that we have access to here in Sarasota everywhere. But mainly it was that plant-based, eat your vegetables like your grandma and your ma said.
And at Elite Health, you teach nutrition. It's one of the things that you teach, and living well.
It is the foundation at Elite Health. I invite all of our viewers to come see our office in Midtown Plaza. It's unlike anything you've ever seen. And at the forefront of the medical office is a wellness center. Education, information dissemination is important regarding every aspect, what you eat, how you move. We have an activity center where gentle stretching, anything from gentle stretching all the way to Zumba is going to be available at our location.
And you design a program based on your particular needs, the patient's particular needs.
This is correct.
So you go over their whole entire lifestyle, what they've been doing, medications they're taking, and you design something specifically for them.
Elite Health has a particular dietary program. It's called Elite Fit for Life, and it is an all-encompassing diet, exercise, and even we have our own supplements if you care to take advantage of that option. So it is a focus on how you eat, how you move, and then in addition to that, part and parcel of overall wellness, as we were speaking of, is the other component. It's not just the physical body that we need to tend to. The person needs to also be engaged in his life or her life. Be engaged. Don't isolate yourself. Seek out, create the activities that you find enjoyable to you.
And you have activities at Elite Health as well.
We have activities. What we try to do is provide options. Options to keep you engaged, keep your mind engaged, keep your body engaged, and give you information that will allow you to explore your options on how it's best suited for you to become well.
Right.
So it's an overall comprehensive look at health and wellness, and it encompasses the mental, the physical, and the spiritual, I like to think. We have an outstanding group of people and an outstanding program, and I think it's key to everyone's health and wellness to be on board.
Well, thank you again for being here. It's always a pleasure, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
Thank you for tuning in to Aging Gracefully on Suncoast FYI. We'll return right after the break. Dr. Russell Samson returns this season from Sarasota Vascular Specialists. Today, he is here to discuss problems with varicose veins. Nice to see you, Doctor.
Nice to see you again.
We were saying how quickly time passes.
Sure does.
It does. Well, good to have you back. So we're going to review some of the things that we discussed last year. We're going to start with varicose veins and spider veins. Is there a difference between them?
And there have been some new things, so
okay.
it's worthwhile. Yes, so varicose veins are these kind of ugly, bulging blue veins that you have up and down your legs.
Mm-hmm.
And spider veins are these little kind of minute little discolorations that actually look like spider legs on your legs.
Okay.
Spider veins.
Now, do you just get them on your legs, or can you have them? Because I've seen people with them on their faces.
Well, you don't get varicose veins anywhere except on your legs.
Okay.
And why that is, we really don't know. Now, spider veins you can get anywhere, but they are much more common on the legs.
Okay. And they should not be left untreated.
Well, I think that's something people need to understand. Most vein problems don't have to be treated at all.
Even varicose veins?
Even varicose veins.
Even when they're bulging?
Even
they just look
when they're
ugly,
bulging,
right?
they just look ugly.
Okay.
It's very, very rare that varicose veins will ever cause a problem. So you may see things on TV where people are advertising for you to come and get your veins treated, but really those are money-making schemes. The majority of people do not need treatment. Now, some people with varicose veins will have discomfort, they'll have itching, they'll have a sense of heaviness towards the end of the day. And they'll want treatment for reasons other than cosmetics, and I think that's appropriate. Okay. But the majority of people with varicose veins have no symptoms. They just don't like the way they look.
All right. Well, then there are treatments for them or not? I mean, if there's nothing that you can do for them, what type of treatments do you offer?
Well, it's not that there's nothing that we can do for them. We can do lots of things for them. We can do treatments that make them disappear. We can get rid of the symptoms. The point is that not everybody needs them. So if you don't have symptoms and you just have varicose veins and you're worried that maybe something bad's going to happen, you're going to get a blood clot, there are advertisements that say maybe you can die. That's completely false. But if you're worried, you really don't need treatment. But if you have the symptoms, that your legs are heavy, you get itching, towards the end of the day they're uncomfortable and you want treatment, we've got plenty of treatments for that. And there are some people that can get blood clots in varicose veins, but those are not dangerous blood clots, they're just uncomfortable. And that would be another reason to have treatment. Okay. Now, spider veins are purely cosmetic, and we can talk about that again.
Okay, so how somebody should come in then, I mean, if they're, even if it's not cosmetic, say they don't like them and they're cosmetic, that's
Correct.
one thing. But they should come in and have them looked at because they don't know whether there are issues such as blood clots or other things?
No, again, that's a come on that a lot of the advertisements try to do. And one of the things I've tried to do and advertise for, and one of the reasons I'm here, is to reassure people that if you have varicose veins and you don't have any symptoms and they just look bad, you do not have to see a doctor, you don't need treatment. If you have the symptoms or you don't like the way they look, then it's definitely worth seeing somebody who's a specialist in it. But I think you need to be careful who you go to, because unfortunately around the country there's a tremendous growth in treatment for varicose veins that was never necessary in the first place. And a lot of people are being harmed because they are having unnecessary treatment. So, as I said, if you have the symptoms, you don't like the way they look, go to somebody who's ethical and will do the right thing. But don't go just because you're concerned that something bad's going to happen to you.
What are the risks of having them removed? I mean, even if it's cosmetic now, let's just stay with cosmetic.
Well, it depends on what treatment is done. So, but the risks, basically, you can get blood clots. You can get a blood clot that is dangerous to your life. You can get scarring from the treatment. And one of the treatments gets rid of a vein in your body, which is not usually the varicose vein, but it's a vein that we think may cause varicose veins. And we do get rid of that vein for some people that need treatment. But that is the same vein that we use if you ever need open heart surgery and you need a coronary bypass, and the doctor has to use a vein as an artificial artery.
So you don't want to get rid of that.
So you don't want to get rid of that unless it's absolutely necessary. Unfortunately, it's a big money-making area for unscrupulous doctors.
So when people come to see you, then what are the reasons? What do you tell them when they come in?
I tell them just what I told you. If you don't like the way they look, or you're having symptoms, then we do a very simple ultrasound test, which is painless, and insurance usually pays for that. And then based on that, we'll determine what type of treatment you have. And most of the treatments are done in the office. They're outpatient treatments with return to immediate activity. But there are some risks. So you really should only have them if you're, educated as to what's going on with your symptoms and your veins.
Now, if people are interested in having them done, not all doctors are qualified. How do you determine whether a doctor is qualified or not?
The only doctors that are actually trained and are specialized by recognized American Board of Medical Specialties are vascular surgeons. So that's who I would recommend people go to. There are other doctors that are starting to learn how to do this, but they didn't come to it directly. They may have been cardiologists or family practice doctors, and they've kind of learned the technology. But generally speaking, I'd go to a vascular surgeon.
Okay. Now, on your team, how many vascular surgeons
do
you have?
We have 6 doctors in our team, all board-certified vascular surgeons, and all able to do these treatments.
All right. And where are you located, doctor?
We're on just North Cattleman Road, just by Sam's, so you can stop off and get something at Sam's and then get your veins treated.
Okay. Do you have a website that they can go to? Because I know you have a lot of information on there as well.
Veinsandarteries.com, all spelled out. Or Sarasota Vein Doctor, and you'll come to me.
All right, I like it. Thank you. It's nice seeing you, and we'll have you back soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Aging Gracefully on Suncoast FYI. To find previous episodes, go to snntv.com under programming. See you next Saturday and Sunday at noon.